How's it going, guys? This is Upside Down Ace, and this is the 1968 Alfa Romeo 33 Stradale. Honestly, have you seen a more beautiful car? This thing is gorgeous. I mean, there's no other. It's beautiful. It's just, in every sense of the way, it is a magnificent looking car. So let's talk about it. This is one of the rarest cars in the world. Alfa only made 18 of these officially. They sold off the chassis designs later for some reproduction models, but there are only 18 ones that are real in the world. Look at it from the back end. The way the taillights and the curves over the wheel arches, it's gorgeous. Now, this is one of the first cars to feature some butterfly doors. It would open up and out, so it's a pretty cool feature there. Now, I saw this car and I was like, sweet, I want to buy it. It's 3 million credits. So be prepared to put down some serious cash for this car, because 3 million credits for a 1968 A-Class car is a lot of freaking money. I barely could afford this thing. I need to do more races. And Alfa, when they sold it, this was also incredibly expensive in 1968, as you would expect from a supercar. But this thing was more expensive than a Lamborghini Miura. I mean, it was more expensive than everything. They sold it in the US for like 17 grand, which was about 8 times as expensive as a normal car in that time period. So that's a lot of money. If you translate that, 8 times a normal car nowadays is what, 20 to 30? You're looking up 200 grand or more. And that's crazy expensive. Now, this is a road-going version of their 33 racing car. That's what Stradale means in Italian. In terms of performance, it goes from 0 to 60 in 5.5 seconds and a top speed of 173. Now, at the time, this was like the fastest accelerating car in the world. So it's super great on the acceleration, good top speed. It comes from all this power comes from a 2-liter V8. It's got like 240 horsepower, but the car only weighs like 1,500 pounds, so it's a featherweight. So this thing is, the sound is great. It sounds so good. It sounds like an old F1 car, but this was Anyway, it's an old racing car, so it sounds exactly as it should, like an old racing car. Now, the bodies are all made out of aluminum for that lightness, and they were all hand-built. So every one of these cars is a little bit different, and that just makes every one just that little bit more special. We don't get that nowadays. Now, some new features that were on the 1968 model, the black things you see on the side of the car, those are vents for the brakes, to let the hot air come out of the brakes and let them cool. A very nifty design feature there. I love the side view mirror. It looks like a periscope from a submarine. That's what it reminds me of. Now, handling and brakes wise, it could be better. I'm sorry, I just changed views. Look, you can see the engine. Look, you can see the engine right through the glass. The curved glass on this car was very unusual for the time. Very high-tech stuff. Now, in terms of, what was I talking about? Handling, I got distracted. The handling and the brakes, the handling's alright. It definitely won't, do any really tail-happy slides, because there's only 240 horsepower, so you're not going to have any problems with that. And in the mid-engine, rear-wheel drive setup, sets up pretty nicely for the handling. The brakes are meh. They're not great, but you just gotta brake a little earlier than you expect. That's my advice on that. Upgrade wise, you can go up to R3. I don't recommend it because you can barely get into R3. You can change the engine to the Alfa Romeo 8C engine. Don't do that. Whatever you do, do not do that. The car's transmission cannot handle that much horsepower, so you have to change it to a race transmission, and then when you do, the chassis can barely handle all the horsepower from the 8C, so the car's just all over the place. I don't recommend the 8C engine. I recommend sticking with this engine, upgrading it to up to an S-Class. And even then, it's still a little finicky. It needs a really good tune, and I don't have time to put it into it. So, overall, the Alfa Romeo 33 Stradale is a beautiful car. with amazing acceleration and speed, not so great brakes, okay handling, but it is one of the rarest cars, and this is probably the only chance you'll get to drive one is in Forza, so go ahead and give it a spin in a hot lap or something if you don't want to drop 3 million credits on it. So guys, that is the review. If you enjoyed it, please like it, and as always, comment below what your thoughts on this gorgeous machine, and as always, don't forget to subscribe, and stay tuned for more videos.